we got to start blaming somebody, right? There needs to be the blame game has to come out now. And I'm with you. I'm with you, damn it. Someone got to own got to sit on this one. They got to own this one. And for me, let me be very clear. I exclude Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones always from the equation. They are not complicit to all of this. They're never changing. So don't message me. Don't tell me about the Joneses. Don't tell me they need to go. Don't tell me Jerry need to give up GM-ship. Don't tell me Jerry need to sell. Don't tell me that. He's never. The only thing that is separating him from being the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys is a phone call from Jesus. When Jesus come a-calling and say, come on home, that's the only way. Other than that, he's your general manager. He is your owner. It's a family business. They ain't selling. And they're not removing themselves from the process. So I sit him aside. We don't add him into any of this equation because that is that. And that is going to be a constant until you're dead. And when your kids die, constant. And when their kids dies, it's still going to be owned by the Joneses. Okay? Now maybe year down the line, it'll change. But as of right now, at 81 years old, it's what you're dealing with. Okay? But I say it starts at the top. When your team goes out there, the number 2 seed in the conference. By the way, the Cowboys, under the new structure of the way the playoffs are formed now with the wild card, the Cowboys are the first second seed to ever lose to a 2 seed. Ever. The Cowboys are also the only team in NFL history who's had 3 straight years of 12 wins or more to not play in a conference championship game. Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. But I start with Mike McCarthy. And boy, you guys, if you've been around me long enough to know, if you watched any of my shows, if you followed me for any amount of time, that's my guy. Freaky Mike was my guy. I wanted him the day when they start talking about firing Jason, go get Mike McCarthy. Because I thought that Mike McCarthy, and I still think Mike McCarthy is a guy who comes with the credentials, who won the Super Bowl. Now granted, he had arguably one of the top 2, 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks in NFL history in Aaron Rodgers. That matters. Listen to what Cam Newton was saying. It matters. I know sometimes the message is blurry by the messenger. You can't get past a distracting look. But Cam was on to something. But it starts with Mike McCarthy because you're complicit twice. One, that team wasn't ready to play. Which is, to me, freaking sane. That you have a playoff game, a home game, with the best road that you've seen in a long time. That's leading you to at least the NFC Championship game, and you don't have the troops ready? Unacceptable. But also, you're complicit in this because you're the offensive play caller. And it may sound wrong, but this Cowboys team is a front-running team. They are at their best offensively and defensively when you're able to get out and score, and they're playing with the league. Now, you can say that's every team, but this team in particular, they're not a good football team when they have to come from behind. When they get out ahead of you and they put up points, and now you're having to catch up, plays right into the hands of the defense. And that's when they're at their best. So one hand washes the other for the Cowboys. And that offense it looked like the offense we saw the first couple of weeks of the season. Had no rhythm. There was no motion. Had no continuity. Had no flavor in it. Everything was short. the throws were off, and you did not have an answer for what Green Bay was throwing at you. There should be a bag of plays that you, and this is why a lot of times I tell people is that you don't necessarily always rise or get stronger as the game goes on. You fall to your training. It's like if I sent you to boxing class for a week, 1 week, 7 days, right? And then on the 8th day, you got into a fight. Well, what you're going to lean on is the thing that you're most comfortable with in the moments of panic. See, all the boxing that you learn in those 7 days doesn't combat what you've done for the other years of your life. Now, when you do boxing for a long period of time, when you put the 10,000 hours in and that fight happens, you revert back to those skills. Bob and weave, jab. See the punch coming, combo. But if you just been there for a week, when that fight happens, you start doing this. You just start getting them up off of me. It felt like that with Mike McCarthy. Green Bay won the toss, and they said, "I want the ball." Yeah, Matt LaFleur said, "Give me the rock." We're not defer to the second half. Games. Defer, that's another thing. Put on the hat, right? Defer to the second half. No. The game might be over by the second half. And in this instinct, it was. It was 27-3. I don't even know what it was. It was a blowout. 27-7? 27-7 and a half. Game's over. Game's over. Didn't matter who got the ball at half. Game was over. But Mike seemed to be shook. He seemed to be out of sorts. He seemed to be lethargic. The camera panned many a time to the faces of the players, your star players. And they were like, they looked shell-shocked. They looked like they were asleep and someone threw water on them. They were like, oh. They looked like my man in Get Out. He was just like, the tears are coming down. They looked out of it, out of sorts. That falls on Mike McCarthy.